Welcome to q&ace. It's your boy Ace Boogie. I'm here tonight. Thank you guys for joining the stream. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so I wanted to definitely bring that back. Definitely wanted to talk to you guys, see what's going on. So I'm here. Obviously, I've pasted the link in the actual channel itself. It's on the screen. Be sure to hit that because we'd love to hear from you guys, especially my man Rob. I see you in. I need you to join in the video, bro. Or anybody watching this stream right now. As you guys know, this is Q&Ace. What we do here is we bring everyone in and we try to, you know, do any kind of question and answers. You can type them in the chat. Super chats are open, so we appreciate that. Or you can actually jump on here with me for free if you want to with the Melon app link that's down in the right corner. So it looks like Rob is driving right now. But if there's any questions that you guys, be safe, Rob. If there's any questions that you guys have, please be sure to leave them in either the chat. You can super chat them or you can jump in, join in the link there. So we truly appreciate that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to. Um, Somebody said the road to the Super Bowl starts now. Let's get it. And if you like this shirt that I have on, the Cincy shirt, it's brought to you by our good friends at LFG Cincy. Check the description. There's actually a link in there to my page where you can purchase this shirt and many others that are dope as well. So please be sure to check that out. And then I also have a good friend of mine who also has the game day shirt. There was one video I did, I think it was the helmet review video, and I had on a tiger shirt. So that's in the description as the game day t-shirt. So please be sure to check that out. Also hit that subscribe button. We truly appreciate that. Helps grow the channel. And it also alerts you if you hit the notification bell for when we go live. And we're still doing the giveaway at 15,000 for the free jersey. So if you want a new Jamar Chase jersey, or even if you're not a Bengals fan and you want a jersey, we'll go ahead and look out for that as well. But yeah, I'm ready to get some Q&A started. So I give you guys a few minutes to pull in and get some of these questions in. But I love to have you guys also join me with the Melon app link as well. Rob is going to ask the first question. How do you feel about Zach Wilson? We never talked about quarterbacks that much pre-draft. Honestly, I think Zach Wilson to me is more kind of like a Baker Mayfield in a sense. You know, I don't know if I would have picked him as a second overall guy. I mean, he's solid. I think that he's good. I don't think that the Jets made a mistake there. But I don't know if he's on the same level as a Justin Herbert or someone like that. I don't know if he can change the Jets around himself because obviously there's a lot of spots over there that they need to work on, and they have done some of that, right, in the offseason in terms of bringing in Carl Lawson, bringing in Corey Davis, and some of these guys. But my man Steven just jumped in. My man Steven just jumped in backstage. But to wrap things up, I think Zach Wilson is a solid quarterback. I'm not so sure, what he's going to do in New York. So let me go ahead and bring in the legend, Steven. What's up, bro?
Yeah, let's go! I'm back. It's been so long since I've been on the show, and I'm finally back.
Glad to have you back, bro. What's going on?
Man, the Steelers' entire offensive line is crumbling around
I'm
us right
loving it.
now.
Loving it.
Went from a top 5 offensive line to probably worse than our offensive line now. It's pretty
Easily.
bad. It's
Pretty bad, and I'm loving it.
David DeCastro's gone. I mean,
Send Ben out in a wheelchair. That's what I'm saying.
Center's gone. I mean, their offensive line is looking really bad now. Went from like a top 3 unit to it's bad. So I hope maybe it's been aging for a long time. That core's been together for a long time, but it's starting to fall apart now, and they're just getting carried by their defense at this point. So.
Nah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Steven.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just scared about I'm still just not sure about our offensive line. it's not like it's definitely an upgrade, right? But like I
Right.
just felt like we could have done so much more with like maybe like the amount the Jets gave Carl Lawson is like not even close to the amount we gave Trey Hendrickson. I just don't know why we couldn't give him that, and then use that extra money to sign like a lineman or something. That's more than enough to get like a Kevin Zeitler. Like I don't like maybe not a Joe Thuney, and I'm kind of happy we didn't get Joe Thuney because he's like 28. So,
Right. The only
but
thing is, even though they moved on from the Castro, they did take Trey Turner, so it doesn't seem like he was going to be an option for us at least to be able to bring him in. But the more I think about it, maybe they felt like, I mean, obviously Jackson Carmen is going to start probably right guard, right? But we still felt like maybe there was a chance for them to get another guy that they could put at left guard, and we all wanted it to be Trey Turner. Now he goes to the Steelers, and now
for nothing
Castro's
too. Like
out
he
there.
went
They
to the
claim that
Steelers
De
for nothing.
Castro is hurt though, like he has ankle injuries. Do you think that the Bengals should still like consider him though? Because I would be like, I mean, yeah, he might be hurt and all of that, but I
I
mean, the
mean,
guy's got to be,
if
he's got
he's
to be at
healthy,
least
then he's an upgrade over pretty much anybody on our offensive line. Like he'd still probably be a better tackle than Riley Reef or something like that. Like he'd be really good. He'd be a really nice upgrade if he was healthy. It's just the injury issues. I think that's the only reason they released him. And
hmm
I mean, he could even retire, but I don't know if that would happen. But he could do that. But I mean, I just don't know about our offensive line, man. I don't think it's gonna be like Joe Burrow injury offensive line, but I think it's gonna be still bottom five unit. It's nothing like
bottom
special.
five. I don't
I
think
don't.
they'll. I think if they could get to 20th in the league, I think that would be probably the ceiling. I think that's the ceiling. I mean, maybe they are bottom five.
I
Hold on,
mean,
somebody said to put the link in the chat.
yeah, I had to
Uh,
type it in manually, so.
Hold on 1 second.
But I mean, we have Billy Price starting for the first few weeks, unless Trey Hopkins comes in healthy right away. That's not
hmm
always something you want. Jackson Carmen, we don't know if he's going to be good or not. Like, he's moving to guard. That's a position that he's never played before. I mean, he's transitioning from tackle to guard, which should be not like a super difficult transition, but he's still never played guard, so I mean, he's gonna have to learn how to play the position, and we don't
That's
even know if he's
facts.
gonna be good at guard, but he's probably gonna be better at guard than tackle. We have our other guard spot. We will see, man. But I mean, it's not like you're necessarily like super super duper excited about what we have there. I mean, Suafilo, Spain. It's nothing to get excited about. I mean, it's like they're solid at the best. They're solid. They're nothing to get excited about, but they're solid. I mean, it's good. It's an upgrade and it's good enough, but it's nothing to get excited about. And then we have Jonah, and we'll see how he develops under Frank Pollock. I think he's gonna be like. I don't think he's ever gonna be like an elite tackle, but I think he'll like. I think his ceiling's like a really good tackle, like a really good player, like Eric Fisher type of tackle, maybe something
That's a
like that.
good analogy. That's a great analogy, actually.
And then our other tackle, I mean, I don't, man, Riley Reef. I mean, well, I'll have to see about him, man. I mean, I definitely think the Vikings like their O line is trash, and they still released him. So I
Right.
I don't. I mean, they released him for a reason. They didn't. I mean, I don't know if it was for cap, but I feel like there
Hold
might
on,
be
Steven. We
something
can't
there.
we can't see your face under the message. Can you move your camera up a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure,
Yeah, there we
but
go.
I just don't know how to feel about Riley Reef. I just don't. I don't. I'm not sure about him, man. I just think we could have done a lot better. Could have got a much better player. I think. I mean, I think I would have taken like an Eric Fisher over him. To be honest, probably would have taken Eric Fisher. Not a Mitchell Schwartz. He's too old. But like,
But you
I,
do think he's better than Bobby Hart, right?
anything's better than Bobby Hart. So I mean, anything's better than Bobby Hart. So I mean, it's not hard to get an upgrade with Bobby Hart, but he's still in the NFL. I don't. amazes me how he's still in the NFL, but he's there. But and then I also question the Trey Hendrickson signing still. I mean, I don't have any diss on him. I don't think he's bad or anything. I think he's a good player, but I just don't know if he's like a number one pass rusher player. I just not like Carl Lawson was like at the very worst, he's a really good number two. At his best, if he's healthy and he's able to like use all of his moves, I think he's like, I think he could be not an elite, but I think he could be a really good number one pass rusher.
Right.
And we let him go. And I just don't know. And we paid Trey Hendrickson so much more money than it would to cost him. I don't remember what they gave Carl Lawson, but I know it's not 90 mil. I know they did not give Carl Lawson 90 mil. Like they gave him like 3 years. Like I don't know if it was 30 mil, but it was not 90 mil. I know that for sure. And then we could have used that remaining money to like, get another player out. Like maybe even a better corner, to be honest. A better corner. But I don't know if there were better corners on the market, but still.
Corner to me, I think I like Cheeto. I think that he's
I
gonna
like
end up
Tito. I like
being
Tito.
a good pick. You talk about Mike Hilton. The only thing is, like you said, which one of those guys, like adding Trey Waynes to the room as well, which
Mm-hmm.
one of them is actually a number one corner? Like that's the issue I think there. Obviously, they added more to that room. I still think Darius Phillips should get somewhat of a shot. I don't think that he's really getting any kind of fair shot, and I think that he may be the one with the best ball skills in terms of getting interceptions and stuff like that. But it seems that they want to add a lot of competition to that room because of how depleted it was last season. I don't think that it's a personal thing against them, particularly not wanting to play Darius Phillips. I just think that they know when it comes to durability, he wasn't able to hold up, and a lot of guys weren't able to hold up last year. So they're trying to get as many people as they can in that room. And so they went and got the kid. What's the kid's name from Ohio State? The corner. He
Eli
has
Apple.
Eli Apple. But Eli Apple's like your fifth or sixth corner. Like nobody is really expecting Eli Apple to even get. Is he even going to be active on game day? Like a
He's
lot of people are
trash.
like,
He's
"Oh, you
trash.
guys signed Eli Apple," but at the end of the day, I'd rather have Eli Apple than BW Webb. Like I'm just going to be real. Like I'd rather have him than some of the guys that we were starting out
We
there
started
last
like
season.
CFL players last year. It was like
Yeah, bro.
bad.
There
It
was
was
like
bad.
one.
Like
There was a
who?
video I did. We signed some corner from the 49ers. And I was like, look, I'm not even trying to be funny, but
LaShawn
who is this
Sims.
guy? Who is this guy? Like we at least know who Eli Apple is, right? He might not be the best corner or anything like that, but he's at least started before. He's at least been on an NFL roster. Like some of these guys
100%.
were like XFL players, like bro. And no disrespect to the XFL or anything like that, but it just was like you can't just immediately go from there and jump into the NFL and go against someone like I don't know, Chase Claypool, like that's not gonna work out well. There's guys like Eli Apple don't do well against Chase Claypool. So how is a guy from that has barely even played and is a
Wasn't
fringe
even good
roster
on
player?
the
Like
team.
that's what we were starting last year. Like at certain
Yeah.
points, once William Jackson the third went down, once Trey Waynes went down, once we had Mackenzie Alexander, who I liked. I thought he was one of our best free agents. After that,
Yeah.
bro, it was crazy.
I like Mackenzie. I just he had his moments, but at the same time, he had a lot of bad moments. I mean, he's definitely had his moments for sure, especially that Steelers game. We all remember what he did during the Steelers game. I just he wasn't always the best corner, and he wasn't. I mean, he was pretty healthy for the most part, but I know he didn't wasn't always the best corner. We'll just say that he
Hunter
wasn't.
talked about LaShawn Sims. Don't forget about LaShawn Sims either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy. I'm not happy we let William Jackson go, but after hearing what he was saying about us, I don't care. But
Mm,
I really that the Carl Lawson one really hurt, especially
yeah,
hearing that he
Carl.
wanted to stay in Cincinnati.
Right.
He's a great player, and he's definitely better than Trey Hendrickson. Maybe he did have more sacks than Trey Hendrickson, but I know for sure he's a better player than Trey Hendrickson because he was the number one, and Trey Hendrickson was the number two behind. Cam Jordan. And Cam Jordan's great,
Yeah,
so
I mean that's true. I love Carl and all of that, but you also have to think about last year was really the first year that they gave Carl kind of starter reps. Like they should have been doing that like for years. Like they weren't playing him on like the early downs and stuff like that. So last year was the first time he did that. The one thing about Trey Hendrickson though is I agree with you. Yes, he was playing against Cam Jordan and stuff like that, but it's not like that they were double teaming Cam Jordan on like the other side and he was just being able to run free. When I cut the tape on him, he was going against some good left tackles to his credit and he was beating them. Like honestly, so I don't know if I don't know if teams were specifically letting him just get sacks. I don't know. It didn't look like it to me. And I think that they're two completely different players. Like they have different body types. I think, like you said, Carl Lawson has potential. His potential ceiling is insane. But I think we saw what Trey Hendrickson could do last year, and he had the 13 sacks. And I know people are going to say, all sacks aren't created equal. I honestly, I don't care. Like when I watched him, I'm like, this dude was making plays. It
he had
wasn't like
like
he
the
was just
he had
lucking up.
like the most sacks we had was against a depleted Eagles offensive line. Like
Hmm.
an Eagles offensive line that didn't even have half of its starters. That was probably like
Right.
like that game and the Steelers games were probably our best games that year, and that's not really something to write home about. Like the
Right.
Steelers offensive line, they were really knocked up going into that game, and then the Eagles offensive line, they didn't even have a lot of their players were injured, and yeah, it was messy for their offensive line. And then
Facts.
I mean, I just at the same time, I can't like be super mad at it because Carl Lawson. I mean, we all know what happens with Bengals players and injuries, and it's really not a good track record. So, probably, I mean, my working theory is that that's probably why they let him go and
Hmm.
Trey Henderson over him because he's yeah, has a lot of injury history. So, and
Right.
then
Right.
the Trey Waynes thing. I mean, I know it's too early to say anything really because he hasn't even played a snap for the Bengals yet, but I just don't know if Trey Hendrickson is the guy to be our number two. I think if I'm I know it's gonna be a little hot take here, but if I'm for the number two corner spot behind Chidobe, I'd probably have a competition with Darius Phillips and Trey Waynes. That's probably what I would do to be honest, because Trey Waynes has never been a really good corner. He's always been a decent, he's pretty good. He's nothing special, but he's always been a pretty good corner. But
Facts.
I just, I mean, just seeing I'm thinking like my comp for Darius Phillips is like kind of like a poor man's Marcus Peters, kind of like that, because he's a great ball hawk, but he's not, he's a good zone corner, but he's not like that man on man type of guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think, the way they run in Baltimore, they have they have that number one alpha corner, and then they have that number two ball hawk, zone guy. That's what I think, William Jackson and Darius Phillips would have kind of been like. I think that's like, maybe not quite as good, but still,
No, that's
so.
facts. Well, Steven, we appreciate it, bro. We got a couple other guys in here in the room. Was there anything you want to say before you get out?
Nah, man, it's great to be back. It's been like a month, two, since I've been
Yeah, it's
on
been a
here,
while,
so
man.
yeah, I mean, who day,
I mean, part of that is my fault because it's been sporadic, but I tried to
yeah,
come back tonight on a Sunday. So glad to
yeah.
have you back, bro.
All right, see ya, man.
Yep, who that? All right, my man Steven checking in. We got my man Ronnie on deck. I'm gonna answer some of these questions from the chat real quick, and then I'll get him on here. Um, Someone had asked, Austin asked, Ace, how much did Zac Taylor's play calling improve in his third year? I think it continually improved. I think at first it started off pretty shaky, honestly. It kind of like when I think about year two with him and John Ross, the play calling was amazing. And then Ross, it was just like they couldn't use him. Then he wasn't running the ball at points during the season. But I think as the season went on, he adjusted and the play calling got better. And I think, let me see, I believe that was our last question there. So Let me go ahead and bring in my guy Ronnie. Ronnie, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, Ace? How you doing, man?
Chilling, man. How you doing?
Hey, maybe I'm late on checking in, but just had a question. Where are we at with this offensive line? Like, I feel like I'm so nervous that somebody's going to get injured, like
Right.
one or two guys, and then we're going to be right back to next last year.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I mean, we already had Akeem Adeniji get hurt, and some people are saying he's out for the season. Some people are saying that he'll be back, but that was a guy that I really felt like, in terms of our young guys, was a guy that you kind of count on. Like, obviously, last year was his rookie season. He's gonna have his little bumps and stuff there, growing pains, but I really felt like this season he was coming in as a dark horse, kind of
Yeah,
reserve player that could take that next step. But I'm with you, bro. Like, I think that the depth on the offensive line is somewhat scary, especially with Adeniji going down. You still have Billy Price, who at the end of the day was a first round draft pick, and when he was with Frank Pollock his rookie year, he was pretty solid. So I think you're good there. Left guard is a little bit of a question mark. I think with Adeniji, I think from what Dave Lapham said, he actually had Adeniji playing left guard or reserving left guard, potentially starting there. And now I think that is down to Quentin Spain and Xavier Suafilo, who are veterans and solid guys, but it's still, I mean, it's better than Michael Jordan, I guess you could say, but is solid. What really scares me though is really when you talk about the backup for Jonah. Like, that's when we
yeah,
when we get into that area, I'm just like, who's the backup there? Because you could swing Adeniji to left tackle if need be, and he'd probably be able to step in and be solid. But right now, you don't really have that. Like, I can't say like if I can't speak on exactly who they have there, but I know I've seen Isaiah Prince and my man Fred Johnson, which I probably trust Fred more than Isaiah Prince any day. But you still with Fred, we don't know if they want him to play guard, tackle. Is
yeah.
this is going to be his third offensive line like role now, I guess, with the Bengals, because last year they were moving him from tackle to guard. His first year with us, he was at tackle. He actually played pretty good at left tackle that year. And now they're making him guard. I don't know what Frank Pollock's idea of him is. So hopefully, I would hope that they would want to have Fred as the backup left tackle. But with Jonah not being a guy that is particularly healthy, it may have to be something where you move Riley Reef back to left tackle, because he has played left tackle before. He actually is going from left
Then who
tackle to
plays
right.
right tackle?
That's what I'm saying. So, like, maybe I would feel more comfortable. Maybe, and it just depends, because some people are like, there's no difference between left tackle and right tackle. I tend to be kind of old school. I still want that blind side, to the left side protected. But at the end of the day, if they throw Myles Garrett on the other side, I do see that argument too. Like, which side
Yeah,
is his
it's like
blind side?
we played
Um,
in a division where you got RJ, you got the freaking Ravens. You can
right.
never slip on the Ravens, and then you have TJ Watt and you got Garrett.
And you
It's like,
got Garrett. So if it were me, I'm not the Bengals, but this is what I would do. First of all, Jonah wouldn't be playing left tackle for me. He'd be playing right tackle.
mhm.
Riley Reef would be playing left tackle. But let's just say, for instance, Jonah gets hurt. This is what I would do. I'd move Riley Reef to left tackle. I'd put Jackson Carman at right tackle, since he played that in college. And then I would probably put, I guess Quentin Spain would be the left guard. Right guard, I'd probably put Xavier Suafilo or Billy Price, whichever one you want. I'd probably go with Xavier Suafilo. And then at center, Trey Hopkins. So, like, then it's still, you can still have a salvageable line with that. Now, if you get hit with two dudes there,
Then that's my
then
if you
yeah,
get if we have two injuries, man, it's like, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like with our cap space, like we have the opportunity to add some solid veterans, especially in the spaces where we need them in guards. And guard,
facts.
it's like really gave us some flexibility. I still understand the front office. Like, why haven't they? Why can fans always see something, and it's like people get paid the money can't see it? It's crazy. Like,
I think so. The only bell that I'm gonna shoot this to them on is, the only thing I could think is maybe they believe that with once the preseason gets here, there's gonna be some more cuts, and maybe they'll have, so maybe they feel like right now the people that are out there, which Trey Turner just got signed, maybe they feel like by the time the training camps and stuff start the cuts and stuff start happening, they'll be able to get a better person than what they feel like is out there now. And I mean, we'll have to see. But I would just hope for their sake that like they're just waiting for some veteran lineman. But honestly, I don't think that that's the way that you should do it because that person doesn't know your scheme. You know, they might not know your playbook. And I mean, well, it might be like for a veteran at that age, maybe it shouldn't be too far fetched from what they were doing. Like if it's another zone blocking team or something like that, maybe they know that. But I still feel like you got to know the plays, bro, and you got to be able to establish chemistry with some of the guys that they have. But I feel you, bro. Like I was banging on the table for them to sign Trey Turner. I don't even know if Larry Warford is back. He opted out last season. Like I've heard nothing on that. I would be hitting his line as well.
At least one more veteran guy just for depth. Like if they sign just one more veteran guy just for depth, you know, it gives us a security blanket with flexibility, and that's really all that we need. You know, in my opinion, like because again, like if you get more than one guy that's injured, you have no solid flexibility. Where if you're going against a good defense, they can attack too many weak spots. Like it's not, you know, and then we're going to just be dependent on Joe to just, you know, sit back there and deliver the ball quick, which is affects us, you know, do it deep balls. You're going to be just dinking and dumping. And so it's like, it's just it's too much. Like, and I don't know. But then I was going to ask you this. What do you think about Wyatt?
Wyatt Herbert?
Yeah.
It's one of those things I gotta see it, bro. I gotta see what this dude actually does in an NFL game against NFL talent. I mean, I think that he could be a solid dude that could make some noise, but you know, whenever you take a guy like, you know, some people might say he shouldn't have been there in the 7th round, but if 32 teams pass on him, I'm not saying that he's bad, but there had to be something that they saw on the film where they felt like it wasn't going to translate into the NFL. But, you know, those guys don't –
about that guy when I'm watching, bro, I'm like, it's something about him, bro. I feel like he got just something, right? I don't know what it is.
He might have it. You might be right. Like, and that's why, like, I think back to I don't know if you remember back in the day when we signed Chris Carter from the Steelers, right? And it was like a preseason, and he just kept flashing. It was like, who is it? It's like we don't even know who this dude is. Like they signed him from the Steelers or something like that. I don't know if he was an undrafted player or something like that, but he kept getting sacks in the preseason. And I think eventually they were like, all right, let's put him in there with like some starters, and he was still able to make the plays, and they ended up keeping him based off of that. Now, I don't know how the preseason is going to go now that it's been shortened. I don't know how that changes things. But obviously it changes it a lot for last year because we had no preseason. But generally the preseason is that time where you get to put in guys like a Wyatt Hubert to give him snaps against maybe some first-team guys, maybe some second-team guys, and maybe that's where he makes an impact. I'm not going to write the dude off at all. I understand why people like Wyatt Hubert and all of that, but I just look at what we have right now on that side. Now, it's not much, but I think there's a lot of potential there. You talk about Trey Hendrickson, you know, he's safe. You talk about Sam Hubbard, we know he's safe. And then once you get past that, you got guys like Khalid Kareem, you've got Osai. You know, Osai is probably safer than – I still can't say Kareem isn't safe because they just drafted him last year. So I feel like those two guys or those four guys are entrenched, right? And then you're talking about him breaking into that area. And the other thing is I don't know what they plan to do in terms of the 3-4 because they had plans before to make Renell Wren the dime defensive end or something like that. So I don't know if he's considered a defensive end or if they consider him a D tackle. Like, so that's where it's hard for me to figure out all of that. And then you also throw in, hey, there's Wyatt Hubert as well. So the thing is, we'll have to see what happens, I think, in preseason. If Wyatt Hubert is out there getting like, let's just say he has 1.5 sacks in the 3 preseason games. Well, then I think you got to look at it and be like, all right, he's got to make this roster somehow. Like, it may depend on if he can play special teams. It may depend on something like that. I think at worst, he could end up on the practice squad. And let's say that there's an injury, because we always know there's injuries throughout the season. He could end up getting called up from the practice squad to rush. And you never know. Like you said, he might be a hidden gem. You never know. Honestly, like, there's a lot of guys that get drafted in the first round at edge rusher that don't pan out, and then some dude from the second or third round is just killing them, or some dude that was undrafted, such as a James Harrison. They just tearing up the league. So I could see it. I could definitely see it. Like, I understand where the hype from Wyatt Huber, as well as my guy Puka. I understand where it's coming from.
I like Puka.
Yeah, Puka is nice too. Chris Evans, like, it's gonna be some battles, bro. And I'm glad to be able to be going. I think it's the first preseason game. I'm actually gonna be at the Bucks Bengals game down here when they come down to Florida. So I'm one of the people, like the diehards, which I know we all diehards. I like watching the preseason, bro. Like, I like seeing every single person play. Like, I know, some people don't like that, but I think Bengals fans, we like to know all aspects of our team. And to be honest with you, like, when we had 2016, I knew that the team was different because the team wasn't as deep as it usually is. Like, I used to sometimes even put money on preseason games because I knew our team was so deep that our reserves were better than the other reserves. And when we had that 2016 one, I was like, man, we don't have the depth like we used to. Like, we used to have some, like, solid dudes that were still there for the third team.
That's what makes me excited about this season, because I feel like this season we actually have like I'm excited about, like, the competition. Like you said, you got Chris Evans, Puka Williams, like guys I think can make a team better.
Right.
You think of Puka Williams on like a third down or like a spread formation, like you can really challenge like some linebackers or some safeties with a guy like that, or if like a Chris Evans too, like the guy can run routes, like you know what I mean. So it's like you really got people, like you really got to consider as a coach and as a team, like who we gonna cut. You know what I mean? Like these guys, all these guys can legitimately make us better. So I feel way more excited about this year than probably about since 2016. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Nah, that's facts, bro. But you bringing up a great point. Like, the loss of Hakeem Adeniji to the depth definitely blew that lineup. Now, I think the day that it came out, they claimed, or I think somebody told me that Zac Taylor said that they're looking for a reserve offensive lineman. So maybe that's still on the table, and hopefully we get a guy in here. But I would love for it to be, I don't know where his health is, and I don't want to speak on it because I'm not a doctor or anything. But I would love for us to take a dude from the Steelers. Like, I wouldn't mind that at all. Like, I wanted him in the draft over Zeitler to keep it a buck. And it's just, when you can weaken a divisional opponent and add a player like that onto your team, he can give you insight about what they were doing. Not saying that we need that advantage since we beat them the second game, but it's always good to have that because he knows exactly what they're thinking, what their mindset is. He knows the rest of the division. He already knows what time it is when Cincinnati plays Pittsburgh. He already knows what time it is when Cincinnati plays Cleveland or when we play Baltimore. Like, some people that aren't, like, not saying that Riley Reef isn't going to know what to expect, but this AFC North hits different. I'm not saying he's not ready for it, but, there's nothing like with a guy that's already been in the division. He already knows what they expect. Like, all right, this about to get nasty.
All right, and I got one last question. So this is just a hypothetical, but this is something me and my brother talked about a minute ago because we, especially since we were hoping to get the tight end from Florida.
Kyle Pitts, yeah, bro. Yeah. I was team Pitts too for a while.
But we was thinking, so Alden Tate, the guy's 6'4", 6'5", 220, something like that. I was saying, why doesn't he just put on like 15 pounds and just play tight end?
I think it really comes down to, does he want to do that? I don't know. Like, so I followed Alden Tate for a while because I used to actually live in Tallahassee when he was there. I'm originally from Cincinnati, but I went to school at FAMU, which shares Tallahassee is shared by FAMU, which is the HBCU, and then FSU across the tracks. And so obviously at FSU, I was there during the Jameis era. That's how I also know my man that's on the Bengals now, Jaquez Patrick. I've seen Dalvin Cook and all of those dudes. Alden Tate has always been kind of a wide receiver, and he's always been a sleeper, right? Yeah. And so I think it really comes down to would he want to play tight end. Like, he might. I'm not saying that he doesn't. Just from a distance, I think he probably prefers to play wide receiver. And you got to think about it from a real life aspect. Like, let's say, for instance, you work somewhere and you have the same skills as everyone else and they get paid a certain amount of money, and then there's another job that you could do, like if you just get another certification you could do that, but you might get less money. So you got to think about it from that aspect. Yes, I think he could play tight end. It could be a situation like, I think what you're asking, what you're really saying is, could he do what Darren Waller did? A lot of people didn't know Darren Waller that plays for the Raiders, the tight end that just had almost 1,000 yards or something last year. He originally started off as a wide receiver, right? Had some issues with the league and all of that, got out, came back, and he put on weight and became a tight end. Could Auden Tate do that? Sure, I think that he could. But I think the way that Auden Tate is thinking and the way that the Bengals are thinking, they did use him at tight end or line him up at tight end at some times last year. But I think that they want to use him as a wide receiver. And I think it also comes down to, if they were to use him at tight end, this system has kind of showed us that they'll use the tight end sometimes, but it's not like a Kansas City Chiefs where they're constantly going to Kelsey, or Oakland Raiders where they're constantly going to him. So I understand the logic in it. I think, if wide receiver didn't work out for him, yeah, I think so. But
his ceiling is way higher.
Right.
Because, I like him, especially he has some magical catches like I love to do.
Right.
At receiver, but I feel like he doesn't have the separation needed on the next level.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's definitely
playing against safeties and linebackers, like you and the foot speed that you do have, like I think that, man, his ceiling will be way higher. This is just a hypothetical.
No. I hear that a lot, and I understand where it comes from, because, like you said, when you have that speed advantage over the safeties and over the linebackers, I mean, the sky's the limit. But you also have to think about now, that used to be a foregone conclusion back in the day, but now you got linebackers. Now, they might not be as fast as corners, but you do have linebackers that are running 4.4s and in some instances 4.3s now. But it is like, if you were to compare that versus the corners, I agree with you. Like, you're not going to find that many fast linebackers. We'll have to see what they do, but I can just say, I don't know if him or his agent are going to do that. I think that that's a situation where it's like, if we don't have any kind of market out there for me at the wide receiver, I'll make a move to tight end. But with Tate, I still think about, and I think a lot of people forgot about this season. I don't know if I think it was 2 seasons ago where he actually got some starting snaps and he had like 600 or 700 yards or something like that. He didn't have many games that he started, but he came in and he was pretty solid. So I think in his head, because you got to remember, too, he had requested a trade last season. A lot of people forgot about that. Where it was in the news that he requested a trade. He was disgruntled with his role. I think he thinks that he wants to see if he can go somewhere else, if it's not here, and be a number 2 receiver or maybe even a number 3, because right now he's number 4 in our set. And I think he wants to see if he can prove that to himself. And then if it doesn't work, I think he's going to definitely go with your idea and be like, well, let me just put on this weight, because probably by the time that he does that and has success, which I think he would, like you said, he makes crazy catches. I think by then he would actually have the kind of season, and hopefully the position is at a place where someone like Travis Kelce is getting paid just as much as the receivers. And I think that, not saying that he's just about the money, but I think the money between an average tight end and an average receiver is astronomical. Like, you could get somebody that's an average receiver and they would probably make like 9 or 10 million a year, like in the right free agent class. Not saying that that's him, but if you say that and take the equivalent of a tight end, he might not be pulling in as much money. So he might want to see what he's like at the receiver position, if he can produce before then. But again, I see exactly what you mean when it's like, put him at tight end and he could really become one of the top tight ends in the NFL.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Y'all putting in work on this channel, man. I always love coming on and listening to you guys, man.
Hey, appreciate you, Ronnie. Who that, bro?
All right, bro. Take these.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to pull in my man Ron, who's been patiently waiting. Ron, what's going on, bro? Hey, my guy Ron. What up, bro? I remember you, bro. It's funny, like, so before we get into this, I want to let you guys know, I'm doing a special thing with the Bengals where I'm actually coming up to Cincy week 4 for the game. I'm going to be there. There's a link in the description that says go to the game with Ace versus the Jags. Be sure to sign up for that. They'll make sure that you're in our section. The tickets are only $72, so I think they're actually cheaper than they normally are. And be sure to jump into that. I'm going to be there. Zem's going to be there. Commissioner Yaz, Joe Goodberry, Jake Lisco, James Rapine. It's going to be a lot of people. But my man Ron, when I went for the home opener, what was that, 2 seasons ago, bro?
The Niners game.
Niners game. Bro, that was the first time that I had been back as this guy Ace Boogie. So like you probably saw me walking around. It wasn't even really hitting me that people knew me from YouTube. And you were one of the first people that came up to me and was like, Ace, what's up? Like my cousin was with me. You remember that, right?
Yeah,
my cousin was with me and he was like, yo, there's somebody pointing to you. And so, hey man, it's great to have you on here, man. I'm hyped. As soon as I saw your face, I knew exactly who you were.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to that Jazz game. That's a Jags game, right?
Yeah, Jazz game, Thursday Night Football. We're probably going to have some other things in the works. I know Zim is working behind the scene for like some pregame stuff. We might be hanging with Bengals Jim. It's gonna be lit, bro. It was going to be lit like it was that 49ers game. Before the 49ers game, I know you guys are thinking it was a massacre and stuff like that. But before that game, like we were still going off of the high of, almost beating Seattle the game prior, it being a new day with Zac Taylor and everything. The city was jumping. I love the pregame and all of that beforehand. But obviously, we all know what happened after that. But hopefully, it'll be different this time with the Jaguars. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I got my tickets already, man. I'll be there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What you got for me, Ron?
Hey, real quick, I was listening to watching the Coach Simmons interview. I think it was yesterday or this morning.
Okay.
And he was talking about special teams and kick return. And he said he was like, I want Trent Taylor. We got him returning kicks, and then Puka doing punts. But he didn't not one time mention Wilson. And so I was like, what's up with that? And then I went to the Bengals website and saw that. I didn't realize he was listed as safety on the depth chart. And then he mentioned Darius Phillips, but his injury history. So I wonder just like kind of like what the game plan is as far as like it sounds like it's gonna be like Trent and Puka. And then I don't also have, but I looked up Wilson's contract. It's over after this year, so he's got one more left on his contract. So
that's a great point, man. I mean, for me, honestly, I'm not a special teams coach. I respect Darren Simmons and what he's done for years. I think that is kind of weird that Brandon Wilson wouldn't be out there, considering I believe he made the Pro Bowl, or he put up some pretty good numbers. But you got to remember, before Brandon Wilson, the same thing was like that with Alex Erickson, where Alex Erickson was like leading the league, but he wasn't getting touchdowns and stuff like that. So somebody just asked about the link. The link is in the description. But maybe it's the same kind of thing because, I remember when Alex Erickson was there, he was like leading the league, and people were like, well, why would you bench him for Brandon Wilson? Like, Brandon Wilson hasn't, done this and that. I have to see it to see like what they're gonna do. Like if they do kick return, and it's Trent Taylor and Brandon Wilson, because you do have to have 2 kick returners, right?
Right.
Maybe that's how they do it. Trent Taylor I actually like a lot, bro. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Trent Taylor, and it's not like from a special teams aspect. For me, it's from a slot receiver aspect. I really do think that he's a better version of Alex Erickson. I think that you're going to get a lot more from him that you did. So you're going to get his contributions on special teams, but you're also going to get him in there in the slot. I think a lot of people are really sleeping on him as, that 5th receiver for the Bengals. You got the big 3, you got Auden Tate, and then I think it's Trent Taylor, like over the other guys that are after him. Like some people might be like, Ace, you're sleeping on Mike Thomas and all of that. I'm just based off of what I saw this dude do in San Francisco. I think that, he came back from an injury. He was fighting through that, and that kind of took people away from what he did the year prior to that. But Puka Williams, I think that's good. I think that's a great sign for Puka, because that means that Puka could potentially make this team. It's going to be real interesting, man. You talk about Darius Phillips' injury history. I think that's the only reason that they doubt him in some aspect is because of that. And from what I've heard with a lot of people close to the team and close around him, that is a potential issue. He is, from what I hear, pretty small. Like if you were to meet him in person, I heard that he's pretty small. He's talented though. He's talented as hell. I think, but I think the thing is always the best ability is availability. And if he can get to the point where he's durable, I think Darius Phillips could be a top returner in the league. I think that he could be a good corner in the league too. I don't want to say elite corner, but I think that he could be a guy that could get some interceptions and make some plays. And I think that that's what Darius Phillips has been. But I think that that's very interesting that you said he didn't mention Brandon Wilson, made the comments about Darius Phillips and his health, opened the door for Puka Williams, opened the door for Trent Taylor. A lot of people aren't happy with Trent Taylor returning kicks, though, from what I've seen online, because he hasn't really, the numbers don't say that he's an amazing returner. But at the end of the day, you got to think about, and that's one of the reasons that I don't go all the way off of stats, because, who's to say how many of those punt returns were returnable? If he couldn't really return anything and the one that he did, he got hit or something, or there was a flag on the play, you don't know what those numbers really mean. So we'll have to see it. I mean, obviously in the preseason, that'll be the time to see. Everybody can't return punts. That's a hard position to do. Like, a lot of people can't catch that stuff. So it's going to have to be Puka there can show his ability, but he's got to show ball security, because we don't want somebody back there that's going to fumble. You got to have somebody that has good vision, and I think Puka has that, and I think that that's rare that he has that, but Brandon Wilson definitely has that as well. And he always had it. And even though he is a safety, he's never really, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he used to be a running back. And then he was a safety, but he's always been like a return guy. He's always been a guy that's like, I think about when you think about college football and they talk about athletes where they don't really have a position, that's always been Brandon Wilson. So we'll have to see, bro.
Yeah, it was interesting too, because he said that he said Puka has never returned punts, but he said he was built for it.
Built for it. Hey, that sounds like
he's super excited about him. So
yeah. That sound. I mean, I can see it, bro. Puka, I think is what they really wanted from Gio Bernard, but Gio Bernard was so high up on the importance list that you couldn't risk him getting hurt as a punt returner or a kick returner, because Gio used to return kicks back in the day. He was really good at it. Now you get that person with the running back vision, and if he, like he's saying, if he can catch him, he's just got the natural ability to make an impact. And I think that he can probably do some special things that maybe Brandon Wilson couldn't do. Now, I say that because Brandon Wilson, I think, had our last return for a touchdown, but they probably want a guy that can get like 2 or 3 of those. And right. It's just hard nowadays, man, now that they're starting to kind of phase out special teams in general, like with all of these rules, because they claim that that's where all the injuries happen. You don't really get to see that many guys take kicks back. But hopefully we get that with Puka. That sounds like something where Puka can make the team because of that.
Yeah. Another thing you said was someone asked him about they made a comment about returning to normalcy this year. Right. And of course Tim was like, nah, we still ain't normal yet. It's still different. Right. It's not the same. So I just thought that was interesting that he had said that, we're still like working back to getting back to normal, but this ain't the season that's going to be normal yet. It's going to be like the 2022 season that's, we're getting back to normal.
Yeah, I think so, because, excuse me, because you sit and hear them talk about all the restrictions for players that are vaccinated, the ones that aren't vaccinated. So I think that it is, like he's saying, it's not normal because, depending on what that decision is, they might be split out or they might not be allowed in certain places. So he's probably like, normal in his eyes would be that there are no restrictions against anybody, vaccinated or unvaccinated. So I can see why that makes sense. And then you also talk about how, for us, all of our players showed up to OTAs, but some other teams, everybody wasn't showing up. Some guys were working out by themselves and stuff like that. So, we'll have to see.
He said that too. He said he felt like our team was like a good amount ahead of other teams concerning like training camp, because of how our team came together as a unit, and everyone showed up and put the work in. So
Exactly. So I'm hoping I think that that's a great sign. I think it shows that they believe in the staff. I think it shows that they believe in each other and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get better. Because imagine being a team that didn't do well last year and like everybody's not showing up for OTAs. Like that's just not a good that's just not a good look at all. That just speaks to like the mindset of the team. And so I think it shows that our team is all in and they're ready to definitely improve off of last season.
Well, that's all I got for you, man. I was going to ask you about Trevion Williams, but I'll ask you about that next time. My kids call.
All good, bro. Take it easy. Good seeing you, Ron.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, who that? All right, got my man Jay in. Jay, what's going on, bro?
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing, Ace?
Good. Coolin', how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
What you got for me tonight,
Yeah.
bro?
Basically, man, I've been thinking about our cornerback situation, and I really don't like Trey Waynes, man. I think that's gonna be a waste of money, man. I
I
think
mean,
Cheeto. I think he could be a number one cornerback, but that's yet to be shown. He got
right,
the potential, and we got a good slot like the slot dude from Pittsburgh, but I ain't sold on Trey Waynes, man. I feel like
right,
they coach. We had him. If he didn't like him, if they liked him so much, they would have kept him. So
right. You
I
talking
don't
about
like it, man.
Zimmer with Zimmer? Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
that's him.
I'm not gonna argue against that. Like, I think Trey Waynes is cool, but what they pay for him, nah. Like, nah.
Yeah,
I don't think what they pay for him. I don't think he was a guy that you would give the William Jackson money to and let William Jackson leave. Let's just put it like that. It's almost like remember when we had Jonathan Joseph back in the day, and then they went out and they got Nate Clements to replace him.
yeah,
It's kind of like
yeah,
that to me. That's kind of the vibe that I kind of get because to keep it a buck with you, when I watch Trey Waynes, like he's really more so similar to Dre Kirkpatrick. He just can tackle. And so like
yeah.
with Dre, he would get beat sometimes. And like Trey Waynes is gonna be beat sometimes. The only thing is Trey Waynes can make tackles, but he's still to me, he's not really a number one. Like even when he was with the Vikings, he was more of a number two. And so now he's gonna be your number one. So that somewhat scares me. I hope what they do is I hope they just kind of let Cheeto and him like interchange on that in terms of who's getting
Uh-huh.
snaps against the number one receiver and who's not. Because if you put him on like an OBJ, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know
Right.
how that's gonna really work out.
And then I think like I don't even think he gonna be the same player because he was supposed to been real fast too, right? Like
Right.
ran a four
Right.
two, ran something like that. He ain't got
Yeah.
that speed no more, man. So he
Yeah.
gonna
You
be
never know with
compensating
them
for what
injuries.
he lost.
Right.
Yeah, and with the injuries, he gonna be compensating, man. And I think the receivers that we got in our division, they gonna eat him alive, man.
Yeah.
So I
I
think they
think
gonna have to
what
figure that out.
I think the bad part about it is had they signed Trey Waynes to just a regular contract, our fans would be more forgiving. Like, all right,
Yeah,
he's not getting paid like he's, a top 10 corner in the league. But since you gave him that money, now the standard is going to be as unfair as it is. I'm expecting like Stephon Gilmore type play from
yeah.
this dude, and
But
he's
you're not
not
gonna.
that. He's
Yeah,
not
he not
that.
gonna give you that. He's not gonna give you nothing near that. He gonna be getting burnt, man. But only reason I feel comfortable because I feel like the defensive line is gonna get him more time to,
Right.
more time to cover and catch up and all that extra little stuff that'll help. But man, he gonna be a liability, man.
I think honestly, bro, I think it's gonna have to be the next draft, the next year in the first round. I think they're gonna have to go corner. I'm gonna just say that now because
Yeah,
them letting William Jackson the third leave, them trying to try this out in free agency where we're playing that position, you're gonna have to pay them a whole bunch, and you're not gonna get the talent that you would really get or the potential that you would get with one of those first round corners. And I mean, last year it wasn't the draft to do it, so I'm not saying that they should have taken the corner last season. but
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna get that Jalen Ramsey type potential unless you take in a corner in the top 10, top 20 or something like that, like where they got
Right.
William Jackson the third. So I'm
Jackson.
with
Yeah.
you, bro. I'm not even gonna argue against that. Like I've
So
had concerns about Trey Waynes myself as well.
so do you got any idea why they didn't give him that money? Like why didn't they give him that money
Why didn't they
instead
give
of
William
paying Trey
Jackson the
Wayne?
money?
Yeah. Why they didn't
Oh,
give
from
him the
what
money?
from
Because he
what I heard,
deserved it.
man, from what I heard is they didn't like his ball skills. They didn't think that he got enough interceptions. So what they're looking for is they want they don't want these corners to be the absolute best, I guess per se. They don't want to just lock dudes down. They want guys that can get turnovers and get the ball back to the offense. So they didn't feel like, and it's crazy because when I heard that, right, the same
Yeah.
game, it was the same game. Dude had thrown the interception right to William Jackson and he dropped it. So I couldn't even be mad
Yeah.
at them saying it because the game after I heard this with somebody that was close to the staff is like he had one and he dropped it and I was like, man, like to be honest, I'm like, if there is any critique to his game, you could say that because outside of the Aaron Rodgers interception that he had and he took back, he really wasn't known as a dude that had a bunch of interceptions. But it just depends what you're looking for. For me, I think William Jackson, he's never going to be a big interception guy because when you
Right.
got guys like Jalen Ramsey and all of that, they're just locking the dude down. They don't really care about the interceptions as much as
Right.
those guys, and people aren't going to throw their way that much for them to have 9 and 10 interceptions. When you usually
Right.
have somebody that has 7, 8, 9 interceptions, it's because they get beat in coverage sometimes, but then
Right.
sometimes they just have good enough ball skills like a Marcus Peters to come and pick it off. But then there's other games where Marcus Peters is getting torched by Tyreek Hill the whole game. So it really just depends on what you want. But from what I heard, it's because they're looking for guys that have better ball skills on getting their hands on the ball. And so for me, I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, that's their decision, and whatever scheme that they have, if that's what they want their corners to do, you got to be able to do it, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. My other thing I want to talk about is the defensive end, like how people saying, well, he played opposite Cam Jordan, whatever dude name is, and
Right,
I don't know. When I watched dude played with a motor. Like
right,
dude was a beast when he was out there. Like, and people say, well, he got them sacks. What's the other guy that we lost and we got rid of? Well, he went, and even though he getting pressure and stuff, he still wasn't producing them sacks, man. It take a
right,
special something to get them sacks, and he ain't got it yet. But the dude we
right.
got, he got it, man. I think it's a lot of worry over nothing for him.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. Like, I love Carl and I love Hendrickson. I think that they're two
Mm-hmm.
completely different players, but it's kind of wild for people from a fan base where we all watched last year them have like 17 sacks and then try to complain about a dude that had 13 and a
Yeah,
half sacks. Like, at the end of the day, like, that we've never seen a dude come in and have double digit sacks like that outside of Carlos Dunlap for real. And like to try to banish a dude that's still super young, still has a lot of
yeah.
potential, still has a lot of gas left in the tank. It's not like this dude is 30 or something like that. When I watched him, I got to cut the tape on. If y'all want to watch that video on my page where I looked at every snap dude took, he was beating people. Like, it wasn't something
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
he
he
was.
might have came in and cleaned up some of them, but he was still
Mm-hmm.
beating good left tackles one on one and just beating them and getting
Yeah.
there for the sack. I mean, he sacked Tom Brady twice, sacked Pat Mahomes a couple times. Like, yeah, I see y'all talking about Antoine Odom. Antoine Odom had one good year though, and he played with Albert Hainsworth and all these other dudes. Like, to
And then
me,
he had like 10. He had like 10 or
he had
something like
like
that. It was.
10.
It was.
Like
Yeah,
13 and a
yeah.
half is 13
You
and a
don't
half
luck
in
into
my book.
13 and a half, man. That ain't luck, man.
That's
That's
not luck.
talent.
Like, even if
Yeah, that's
even if he
talent.
has like just 8.5 is still pretty good. Like that.
Uh-huh.
So to me, the only thing I worry about with him is they had interviewed him, I think, like a couple weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, they got me doing things that I never did in New Orleans, like dropping in the coverage. And I'm like, nah, let that man. I mean, I'm not a coach, But if it
Yeah,
ain't broke, don't fix it. If the man had 13 and a half sacks doing whatever he did in New Orleans, I would tell him to do the same thing in Cincy. But we'll have to see. But Hendrickson ain't no joke to me, man. And he's a
yeah,
Florida boy. He's actually from where I live at now, down in Orlando. I didn't even know that. So I'm actually trying to find if I can find somebody that knows him to try to get him on an interview with me and Zim down here. But I already know one thing, like that Florida speed is different, bro. Like them being able to
yeah.
run year round down here, him being that size. So I'm interested to see what he can do. Now, if dude go out there and only get 4 sacks, yeah, I'm gonna be killing him on this podcast or on
Yeah,
this YouTube channel. But I'm not gonna kill the man that had 13 and a half sacks before we even see him play.
right.
Like I can't do that.
I think he go do better because I think all around we gonna have a better defensive line than New Orleans because I like Sample them. I like the defensive tackle. Them rookies, one of them go blow out. They go play, man.
Facts.
If not
Right.
two, because they gonna have the opportunity because the division we in, we need them bodies.
Right.
So I feel like they go do way better than what people giving them credit for.
I
But it's
think
gonna
so.
be the cornerbacks to get the defensive coordinator fired. It's gonna be
Yeah,
them
it
cornerbacks.
could be. Nah, I'm with you. I think the one dude everybody is sleep on is and I'm gonna keep saying this because every time I go back and watch it, it's like bro was almost there on every play. And it might have been because we had him on the show. Like I already liked him before we had him on the show, but it was Khalid Kareem. When I was watching him,
Hmm.
like
Oh yeah,
obviously
I
after
like
I
him too.
interviewed him, I was watching him to see when he got in, and we were talking back and forth during the season. And I'm like, bro, I seen you almost get the quarterback on this play. Like it was a play against Lamar Jackson. He was right there, but it's Lamar Jackson. Lamar made another move and got out. But if he had the experience, and this is his rookie year, so it's gonna be a learning curve. If he had the
Hmm.
experience, he would have been there. And then I found out that he wasn't 100% completely healthy. And so, like when I go back, it's crazy because I wasn't noticing it because he really looks sometimes similar to Carlos Dunlap when you just looking at them in pads. That I didn't realize he
Hmm.
was getting in earlier in the season. So I went back and I think I watched it might have been the Chargers game or the Browns game. He was in there again and he was getting pressure at the quarterback. And I'm like, bruh, I'm like, as soon as that light bulb comes on and he's more comfortable, I think that he could at least be a dude that could get you like 6 to 8 sacks, bro. Like, remember how Wallace Gilberry was in that reserve role?
Yeah,
I think he could
yeah.
be one of those dudes that could come in and like still make a big impact in the pass rushing game. And you need those dudes. You need your one dude like a Hendrickson that's going to get your double digit sacks, but you also need that other guy or those other two guys that's going to get the 6 to 8 sacks aside from him. And then you got to get your D tackles that's going to get their 3 and their 4 since we don't have Gino anymore to get that 10. You got to have those guys all come together and get that 30 to 40 sacks. It's funny, though, because Willie Anderson was saying that last year before the season started. He was like, if they going complete 3-4, he was like, they're not going to have any sacks. And I was like, what you mean? He was like, that transition to the 34 fully like that is going to be tough
Hmm.
for them. And we seen it. I mean, they
Well,
was dropping Carlos Dunlap adding coverage, and we never seen Carlos have to do that.
I don't think that 3-4 defense is built for our division, man. I don't
Yeah.
like that. I really don't. Not for us. But who is your starting defensive line? That's all I got for you after that, man. I ain't gonna hold you too
Okay.
much longer, man.
Nah, all
Who
good,
your
bro.
starting defensive line?
I would probably say, I mean, my line or who they gonna start?
Both.
Bo. Okay, so who
Both.
they gonna start? I'll start with who they gonna start. They gonna start Hubbard. They gonna start. I think DJ Reader. Uh, it's weird because they got different packages, but I'll just go with who I think they're gonna play majority of the time. Um, the other defensive tackle. This one is tough for real because it could be Mike Daniels. I'm gonna say Mike Daniels for now, and then
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be Hendrickson, and then I think your reserve dude that's gonna be coming in. Your two reserves is I think is gonna be Asai, maybe on passing downs, and then I think Khalid Kareem. I think those are going to be your rotations, and then I think for when they need like the heavy run teams, when they play the Browns and stuff like that, I think that's when you're
Mm-hmm.
going to see the man from LSU get in there on the early downs. They'll take him out on like third downs, but he'll be in there
Mm-hmm.
for the first two downs. If it was me, I would probably go with I think I'd take a chance with Osai, bro, over her. And there's nothing against Hubbard or anything like that. I would probably use Hubbard on rundowns, and I probably rotate him inside to just move him around. But I just off of the potential, I would probably put Osai in there because if they want somebody that's going to drop back in coverage and all of that, since he used to play linebacker, I think he could do that.
Right.
And I think he has the athletic profile that's crazy. D tackle, I'm going with DJ Reader, and I actually like the kid from LSU. I like them two starting. Like I even think that the kid from LSU has more pass rush ability than people really say. Like he's another one where when I watched the film on him, he was there in the backfield, but he kind of froze up and didn't know what to do. If he gets the proper coaching and he knows to like go at a quarterback's legs or do something like that, he could turn those plays into sacks. And then Trey Hendrickson for sure. And then I'm definitely mixing in Khalid Kareem, or I might start Khalid Kareem. It just depends on who's got the hot hand. But for me, those are all of my guys that I'm going into the trenches with. Now with Osai, they might feel like he's a little bit too raw, and I can see that. So if he's too raw, then I'm going with Hubbard and Kareem on that left edge. But I'm forgetting about Ogunjobi. My bad. Okay,
Yeah.
Larry Ogunjobi gonna definitely be starting next to Reader, and I think he's definitely gonna be starting for me too. So yeah, I don't know how I missed Larry Ogunjobi.
I forgot about him too. And the other kid, Sample. I think Sample will
Sample.
get a chance to play a lot too,
Cam
man. He got a
Sample
good
is
motor.
another one. Yeah, like you said. I mean, this defensive line room, it's going to be a lot of competition, bro. It's going to be a lot of competition because somebody was talking earlier about Wyatt Hubert, and I was like, yeah, I like that, but when you look at this whole defensive line room, it's like, where can he fit in at? And so we'll have to see. But yeah.
Mike Daniels, he can fit in Mike Daniels' spot. I don't think Mike gonna make it, man. I mean, he a good dude, man. He a nice dude, but I don't think he gonna make it, man.
We're going to have to see. That rotation that to me is the most competitive rotation to be watching, I think, in preseason. Like, because you still got, like a lot of people forget, you still got Renell Wren. You still got Josh Tupou, who was actually pretty solid before he opted out. But everybody can't make it, bro. I think, honestly, what they really should do is they should trade one of those dudes. If they feel like they're not going to make the team, they should trade one of those dudes for a solid veteran backup lineman, if that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, if they got too many players there and they got to cut one, just trade one, bro. Trade them to somebody that don't have anything at that defensive tackle position or defensive end position.
Because this the last thing I'm going to say, too, man, is I feel like what's going to throw a wrench in their stuff is if Wren step up. Because this about the time. What, this is his third year?
This is his third year.
About the time for him to make that leap. Now, if he come in and make that leap, it might be a couple of people lose their jobs.
See, that's what's crazy is Wren was supposed to play the big dime defensive end position. So that could throw a hole. Like, he could be somebody that people are thinking is going to, like, not make the team, and he could have a huge role, I think, this season. So, I always say this. I don't know, people are tired of hearing me say this. They probably like, Ace say this all the time. I want to see him and Shelvin next together, bro. And I want to dare somebody to try to run against that. Like, that's just a wall.
Yeah.
That's a wall right there. Like, I don't think anybody, like what happened with us against the Ravens and the Browns, you know, not to disrespect any of those teams. I think that they have an amazing run game, but you can't run into that wall, bro. I'm sorry. Sorry. That's a wall right there.
Yeah.
That's like a 700-pound wall that you were not getting through with those two dudes. So.
All right, man. Well, who they, man, and enjoy your Sunday, man.
Hey, appreciate it, Jay.
All right.
All right, man. Somebody asked in the comments, where did I get the shirt from? There's a link in the description for the shirt. It's from the good people at LFG Cincy. Please be sure to check them out. I got a super chat here from my man Dustin Croft. Appreciate that, bro, for $4.99. Do you know the current salary cap health of the other NFL teams? I got to imagine that there's still some big names and salaries that get cut. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that there's a lot of teams that are in trouble. That's why the Steelers had to go ahead and cut the guard that they had because they are having some issues. You know, the Chiefs were supposed to have issues, but somehow they just were finding money all over the place somehow. But, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Let me see real quick. Let me see. I'm going to check out the salary cap real quick for NFL teams. Let me try Spotrac. Take a look real quick, and we'll probably wrap up after this. So let me see. Right now, there's still some teams with a lot of cap. It looks like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Looks like they still have $38 million. Now this is the top 51. If you don't account for the top 51, they have 11 mil left over. Let's see. New York Jets have 8 mil. Broncos have 4 mil. Now that's assuming nobody gets cut. So if the Bengals currently don't cut anybody, they actually are at negative $4 million. But if you're counting just the top 51, which that's what they'll, obviously they keep 53 people. If you go by that, Jags have 38 million, New York has 35, Broncos have 30, Cleveland has 20, Chargers have 20, Patriots have 20, Bengals have 20. The other thing about the Bengals is you have to realize they always roll over that 10 million into the next season. So you probably want to say that that's 10 million. The Buccaneers have 1.5, Eagles have 2, Giants have 3, Raiders have 4, Seahawks have 4, Texans have 4, Bears have 5. So those teams in the bottom, those are the ones that you probably have to keep on your radar in terms of them letting some people go. The Packers with this Aaron Rodgers situation, probably have to see how that plays out. The Cowboys, Saints, Dolphins, Rams. So you also have to think about the teams that are also going to be giving guys new contracts as well. So I would think, honestly, if I'm the Browns and I've got 20 million left this year, you might want to. I mean, I don't think that they should give Baker Mayfield crazy money, but it's probably best that you give him that money now. And I'm not trying to give them any game or anything. It's probably best that you give him some of that contract this season, instead of having to pay him 40 or 50 million next year. But I would love for them to do that. I'm not mad if they do that. Take all that cap up, Baker. Yeah, I think those are the teams. And I just mentioned Baker because he's due for a new contract. Lamar Jackson is due for a new contract. And the Baltimore Ravens only have $9 million cap right now. So, those are teams. The Buffalo Bills, they're probably going to try to, get Josh Allen a new contract. Somebody's probably going to get one either at the beginning of this season or possibly next season. There's also a Jesse Bates extension left for us. We're also going to extend Sam Hubbard as well. So that's probably why they haven't went out there and did anything. But this has been Q&Ace. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm glad that we were able to get this going again. I'm going to try to keep consistent with this. I know I probably say that all the time, but I truly enjoyed it tonight. Look forward to that. Please be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted to whenever I do this, because sometimes I do it random days. So please be sure to do that. Follow me on Twitter at New Stripe City. Like I said, if you're interested in sitting in my section for the Jags game, there's a link in the description of this video for that. Somebody asked where the link was. It's in the description. I've also got it on my Twitter sometimes. But that link, let me see here. I can actually put it up on here because it's not that long. Let me go ahead and put this here in the comments real quick. Let's see. All right. Here's that link. Put it on the stream. So, nope, that's not the link. Sorry. That's not the link. Hold on. This thing didn't copy like it was supposed to. All right, copy. Let's see if it actually pastes the right stuff here. All right, here we go. This is the actual link here. So it's fivo.me/hboogie. So that'll make sure that you're actually sitting next to me, because I think we all have groups there. We'll all be around each other. But if you want to sit, I guess, directly next to me, that'll be it. And shout out to Emily Parker and the Bengals for making this happen. It's a dream come true. When I started this channel, bro, I would have never thought that, I'd actually be working with the Bengals and talking to them and stuff like that. She actually also helped us on the Chris Evans interview, getting clearance for that. So we appreciate the Bengals for working with us. And like I said, that's going to be my link there. I've also got some other links coming. We got a collab coming from where I'm from as well. So be on the lookout for that. And also, you guys probably saw the Migos, like the Migos S Bengals thing that I just dropped. I don't know how I'm forgetting to plug my own website. NewStripeCity.com is now out. If you're looking for those Bengals Migo tees, I got them on there. I got them in black, orange, as well as white. Let me go ahead and pop this on the screen real quick for you before we get up out of here. But yeah, we went live with this. Hold on. Go ahead and get it up on the screen. We went live with the site actually this weekend. And so this is newstripecity.com. As you can see, we got the t-shirts, the Trace Amigos in white. We got them in orange and black. We even got the New Stripe City dad hats on there. So we got them all. So please be sure to check them out. So yes, Sirski, if you want to get yours, be sure to do that. But thank you guys once again for joining Q&Ace. I'm Ace Boogie. And as usual, I'll leave you guys with a who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.